Have you ever stopped to think if someone is just taking advantage of you? How many times have you felt left out or undervalued in a friendship or relationship? Those subtle signs, like only receiving messages when they need something or promises that never get fulfilled, can be an important warning. It hurts to realize that maybe the other person doesn't care as much as you do. But remember, you deserve to be recognized and valued. Today, we're going to talk about 7 signs someone is just using you and doesn't have genuine interest. To find out how to recognize these situations and protect yourself, keep following along and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin. 1. Lack of personal interest. If the person doesn't show a genuine interest in your life, thoughts, or feelings, and your conversations seem shallow or focused only on their interests, it's a clear sign that the connection might be unbalanced. Healthy relationships are built on reciprocity, where both sides feel valued and heard. When communication turns into monologues where one side dominates the dialogue, it's easy to feel invisible and overlooked. Marcus Aurelius, who always believed in the importance of deep conversations, often found himself in these situations. He noticed that some people seemed only interested in sharing their own stories, never asking about others' lives. This made him uncomfortable because he believed that everyone carries a wealth of experiences and emotions that deserve to be shared and explored. Shallow and one-sided conversations not only limit relationship development, but can also create an environment of frustration and disillusionment. Marcus reflected on how this type of interaction could affect his self-esteem. He wondered if he really mattered to that person, or if he was just a secondary character in their narrative. Deep down, he longed for connections that transcended superficiality, offering a safe space to share dreams, anxieties, and joys. Only then could he feel that he was truly relating, and not just fulfilling a social formality. 2. Selective availability. When the person is only around when they need something, but disappears on other occasions, it creates an unequal dynamic. You feel like an object, always available, while your needs are ignored. The time you spend waiting for a message, a phone call, or even a simple gesture of affection can turn into a cycle of frustration and disillusionment. The relationship becomes an unbalanced dance. You make the effort to be present, offering support and attention, while the other person only reappears in moments of need, as if you were a temporary relief for their own struggles. This pattern of behavior not only hurts the sense of reciprocity, but also fuels feelings of inferiority. The question that always echoes in your mind is, and what about me? What about my needs? Over time, this dynamic can create a deep emotional wound. You start to question your worth and your place in the other person's life. Why aren't you a priority? Why do your emotions seem insignificant? These questions pile up, becoming a heavy burden to bear. It takes courage to confront this situation and demand change. Healthy relationships are based on mutual attention and reciprocity. It's not fair for you to be just a resource when the other party is in distress. You deserve to be heard, valued, and loved for who you are, not just for what you can offer in times of crisis. If the other person isn't willing to balance the scales, it might be time to rethink the connection and seek relationships that bring more balance and respect to your emotional needs. 3. Recognizing intentions. Life is full of relationships that can often be confusing and challenging. The difficulty in seeing who really cares about you and who just wants to use you for their own purposes is a common experience that can leave us feeling vulnerable and disillusioned. Sometimes, people who seem friendly and supportive may have hidden agendas, and it's crucial to learn how to distinguish between those who are genuinely by your side and those who are just taking advantage of the opportunity. Setting boundaries is an essential skill in this process. Healthy boundaries help protect our emotional and physical space, allowing us to feel safe and respected in our relationships. When we recognize our own worth, we begin to reject interactions that don't enrich us. This not only strengthens our self-esteem, but also puts us in control of our lives. Recognizing your own value is a crucial step. It involves deep reflection on who you are, your accomplishments, and what you deserve in your relationships. It's an invitation to love yourself unconditionally and to demand the same from others. By doing so, we create a standard of respect and consideration, a attracting people who align with these values. Marcus Aurelius, with his wise words, reminds us of the importance of being alert and aware in our interactions. Life is a reflection of the relationships we cultivate, and by wisely choosing those we surround ourselves with, we build a genuine and meaningful support network, essential for our personal growth and emotional well-being. Manipulation through guilt. Using guilt as a means of control is an insidious tactic that many people employ in interpersonal relationships, creating a cycle of emotional dependence that can be devastating. When someone tries to manipulate another through guilt, it can generate a constant feeling of obligation. You feel pressured to meet the other person's expectations, even if it means sacrificing your own desires and needs. This type of dynamic not only undermines your self-confidence, but also your freedom. Each time you give in to emotional control, a part of your essence is lost. What should be a healthy, balanced relationship turns into a dance of concessions, where your feelings and opinions are systematically devalued. Over time, you may begin to question your own choices, unsure of what you truly want. Guilt becomes a constant shadow, shaping your actions and decisions. This pressure can lead to anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of helplessness. You find yourself trapped, struggling to please someone who, instead of encouraging your growth, seems to feed on your insecurity. It is vital to recognize these patterns and seek emotional freedom. Setting boundaries is essential to preserve your mental and emotional well-being. We should not allow guilt to define who we are or how we behave. True connection should be built on mutual respect and acceptance, where each person is valued for their individuality, free from manipulation or emotional games. It is in this safe space that we can truly flourish, free from the weight of guilt and control. Continuous disrespect. The lack of respect manifests in small actions, such as canceling plans at the last minute or ignoring your opinions during everyday conversations. These behaviors, which may seem trivial at first, reveal a deeper pattern of disregard. When someone consistently prioritizes their own needs over yours, it indicates that they do not value you. Imagine you planned a special dinner with a friend, only for them to cancel at the last minute to stay home and watch a movie. This behavior is not just a simple change of plans. It sends a clear message that the other person does not value your company or feelings. The disregard continues in small words, like when someone interrupts you mid-sentence or dismisses your ideas. This dynamic becomes a vicious cycle, where devaluation becomes normal and often invisible. When we notice this lack of respect, it is important to reflect on the impact it has on our self-esteem. Healthy relationships are built on mutual consideration and respect. If you constantly find yourself striving to be heard or appreciated, it may be time to reassess these connections. Respect should go both ways, and when it is missing, it is a sign that you need to seek environments where you are truly valued. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that respect is an essential pillar of relationships, and we should surround ourselves with people who recognize and honor our presence and opinions. Superficial connections. Relationships that fail to deepen emotional connections often remain limited to superficial interactions, where the feelings and experiences of each person are not truly valued. In these relationships, conversations may revolve around trivialities, avoiding topics that would reveal deeper vulnerabilities and desires. While this type of connection may seem comfortable at first, over time, it leaves a void that is difficult to ignore. Marcus Aurelius knew this from experience. In many of his friendships and romantic relationships, he found himself submerged in conversations that did not go beyond the surface. He would ask himself, how can I truly know someone if we cannot discuss our fears, dreams, and frustrations? What he discovered was that, in many cases, the surface was all there was. People seemed more interested in maintaining appearances than in building a genuine bond. He realized that this superficiality not only limited the growth of relationships, but also hindered true happiness. What he truly desired was a safe space where he could open up without fear of judgment, where his emotions would be acknowledged and respected. When he encountered people willing to share their stories and listen to his, the transformation was palpable. In those moments, emotional connection began to blossom, bringing forth a depth that had previously seemed unattainable. Thus, Marcus Aurelius learned that the true value of a relationship lies in the willingness to explore each other's inner selves together, valuing not just companionship, but the shared emotional journey. Absence in critical moments. The true nature of a relationship is revealed in difficult times. If someone is not there to offer support when you need it the most, it indicates a one-sided relationship and a lack of commitment. I remember a specific moment in my life, a time when everything seemed to be falling apart. I was going through a phase of professional and personal crisis, where doubts and insecurities became constant companions. The pressure at work intensified day by day, and anxiety slowly consumed me. It was a time when I needed support, a friendly shoulder, someone who could listen to me without judgment. However, instead of finding comfort, I realized that the person I considered a solid partner was distant. The messages that had once been frequent and filled with affection became rare, and the meetings that used to be moments of connection turned into quick, superficial exchanges. What I thought was a relationship based on complicity and love turned out to be, in fact, an echo of loneliness amidst the chaos. It was in that moment that Marcus Aurelius' phrase echoed in my mind. The true nature of a relationship is revealed in difficult times. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing the cracks that hid beneath the surface. The lack of support in the darkest hours made me question not only the value of that relationship, but also myself. I had hoped that when facing emotional storms, I would find someone willing to navigate the turbulent waters with me. But instead, I was left to row alone, battling the waves of frustration and disappointment. It was a painful but necessary awakening. I understood that a true relationship requires mutual reciprocity and commitment, especially when circumstances become challenging. This lesson, although difficult, was liberating. I began to value more those who genuinely cared, those willing to give of themselves in times of crisis. I learned that often, pain and disillusionment can be the best teachers, revealing the true essence of the connections we cultivate in our lives. This reflection became an anchor for the future, a constant reminder that true love is built on the foundation of presence, support, and mutual commitment. Recognizing these signs is crucial to protect your emotional well-being and establish healthy relationships based on respect and reciprocity. Remember, you deserve relationships that nurture and value you. If you identify with these behaviors, don't hesitate to seek support, whether by talking to friends, family, or even a professional. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until next time.